Thank you, everybody, for joining Lunch with LeAnn, and welcome to Wednesday, July 29th. Our guest today is Erik with the Idaho Housing and Finance Association, and we're really excited to have you here, Erik. Thank you for joining us.
You bet.
So this is our second of our ADA series that is celebrating 30 years of the ADA. So Erik and the Idaho Housing and Finance Association is very much a supporter of the work and allies with links. So we're really excited to have Erik here. But what I am also very excited about is I got a sneak peek at Erik's lunch, but we didn't actually talk about it. We saved that for you, the viewer. So Erik, what are you having for lunch today?
These are roasted Viking purple potatoes from Peaceful Valley Farms with a little curry.
Ooh. And where do you get your Peaceful Valley Farms now? Are they doing like delivery, or are you doing pickup, or did you go there?
These I got at the co-op.
Oh, great.
Yeah, they carry a lot of local growers, so I try to kind of support them that way.
That's great. That looks delicious. So did you make that before today, and what's in it?
It's just roasted potatoes. I usually steam them, kind of par cook them ahead of time, and then have just potatoes ready to cut up and make any way I want.
Oh, that's a smart idea.
Yeah.
So I only brought a little bit because it's a warm lunch. I don't know why I was inspired to have a warm lunch on 100-degree weather, but this is vegetarian white bean chili. So there's some corn in there and some red peppers and green peppers, and it only took 10 minutes in my Instapot because it was frozen. So
I've been meaning to ask you, LeAnn, are you sponsored by Instant Pot by any chance?
No, and I should switch that by pressure cooker.
You should totally hit them up for sponsorship for this. I think that's a natural.
Right? It saves my bacon. It is. If you ask anyone,
and cooks it too. Yeah.
It does. Actually, totally. We use our Traeger for that. I don't know if anyone uses the Traeger outside. It's a pretty good way to make bacon.
And we should acknowledge Sierra, who's our interpreter too.
Yes.
We were just talking with her about, whether or not she gets to save the day when she's out and about in the community. And I sort of imagine her in a cape that says, ASL on the back.
I'm also just super impressed with her ability to keep a straight face as we talk about her. So that is very much a skill that a licensed interpreter probably has.
That's right. Yeah, she's a brown belt, she said, interpreter.
So Erik, we're here today to not just talk about lunch and fun things, but also a little bit about the 30 year of the ADA and your wonderful organization. So I'd love to start with a question that I'm starting all these series with. So what does the ADA mean to you as a citizen, Erik?
It means access, equity, independence, basically inclusiveness, in life and in society and community. It means, I can go places with my friends that might not have, the ability to, navigate steps or something like that. And so we can go out to eat and travel together. I travel a lot with folks that use wheelchairs and scooters, and so I've learned a little bit about the importance of accessible routes and entries and buildings and that kind of thing. So
absolutely, yeah. So it really does increase your quality of life, huh? With those friends.
Absolutely.
And people who would take, great.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about your introduction, and I think kind of what you phrased as your entrance into the disability movement, right? Like, what did that journey? What's your origin story there?
I don't know about the movement, but I guess the way I would phrase it is my disability consciousness, started. That awakening was thanks to a woman that was kind of a pioneer in adaptive dance and performance. My parents were both modern dancers back in the 50s, 60s, 70s, And one of the other dancers was a woman named Ann Riordan, who um, came down with rheumatoid arthritis in her 20s. So she had to kind of stop performing as a regular dancer and went back to college and got a degree in special ed. And so she started two kind of adaptive dance companies, one called Sunrise Dance Company and the other one called Sunrise Wheels, that were sort of early models for, adaptive movement. And so, kind of growing up in that kind of extended family, I got to see her performances and the Sunrise group and get to meet people. And it was pretty impactful for everybody. Really had an impact on me. So
Yeah.
early on as a, kid, I was 10, 12, something like that. And then later on, I was a volunteer with a group called Explore, doing adaptive recreation. So we did, river trips on the Colorado River and cross country ski, activities and things like that. So lots of different clients with different needs, and just kind of always been part of my life. So
That's awesome. So outdoor recreation and adaptive outdoor recreation, that sounds like a fun, that's one of my passions, right? Like, how do I get outdoors doing the things I love with the people I love? And
exactly.
yeah.
Yeah.
So what are some of your favorite recreational opportunities, Eric? I know you're working on like a committee around the recreation and fun opportunities for you, but what about you?
Right.
What do you like to do?
I enjoy just exploring the foothills, and that's kind of my daily medicine really these days, is getting out early in the morning and kind of walking the foothills trails. I live near military reserve, so that's kind of a special spot for me. And I used to bike more. I still bike a little bit, done a little bit of river stuff, but not so much.
Yeah.
So
That's awesome. Well, I want to switch gears a little bit. We're going to go back to the ADA celebration and what's going on at the end of the interview. But, I think really right now, we have 7 viewers on Link's Facebook. We're also for the first time going live on 2 Facebook pages at the
oh
same time.
wow.
So it seems to have worked. I'm very impressed with us.
Mm-hmm.
And I think most of our viewers would love to hear about what is the Idaho Housing Finance Association, which I always have to
Yeah.
look at because I just call it IHFA.
Right.
So
Exactly.
I look down and stumble through that. We'll call it IHFA from this point. So tell me a little bit about, maybe we can start with the home preservation program. That seems to be pretty
Sure.
hot right now.
That's really top of mind for a lot of people. We IHFA received some CARES Act funding that was part of the state's allocation. And so we're doing homelessness prevention for folks that lost income because of COVID-19. And so if they meet certain criteria, eligibility criteria as defined by that program, they can apply for up to $2,500 per household. And that money can be used to pay for rent or utilities. So if they're facing eviction and they need help with that, they can actually go to idahohousing.com and click on the need help paying rent link, and that'll take them where they need to go.
Wow, that's awesome.
That's a big one. Lot of activity there. Huge demand right now.
Yeah. And it sounds like you guys did some work even before the CARES funding to find some privatized money for that. And now that's excellent, because that money took a little bit of time, huh?
Yeah, we started out with private funds from our Home Partnership Foundation, and then Wells Fargo kicked in some additional money. So we started out with about $300 and something thousand, and used that for the first month to really get a system in place and start helping people kind of slowly, so we could figure out, work out all the kinks in terms of the service delivery. And boy, it really picked up as soon as we advertised the CARES Act money. It's been nonstop. So I'm really impressed with the folks that are administering that program and doing the intake. They're working a lot of hours.
Yeah, meeting that very much community need, right? Housing is so critical. So and you mentioned we just have to go to the website for that, right? For that
Correct.
information and application. So we'll pop that website in the comments here for you guys, and you'll have access to that. Is there anything else important to know about that program, or maybe some of the other things that our wonderful IHFA is known for?
Well, we do administer the federal, it used to be called Section 8 rental
Mhm.
assistance voucher. Now it's the home choice voucher, um, or housing choice voucher, I think. And we administer that in 34 of 44 counties in Idaho, mostly outside of Southwest Idaho.
Mhm.
We have 2 housing authorities in Southwest Idaho, in Boise and Ada County, and then the balance of the Southwest. So we have branch offices in Coeur d'Alene, Lewiston, Twin Falls, and Idaho Falls. I just realized I should slow down a little bit. Sorry, Sierra.
So, and so those folks who are outside Boise City and Ada County, but those who are inside, who do they turn to? Are those 10 counties, are they just out of luck? They don't get to talk to you guys, or who would they call?
So first of all, I want to make a distinction between the CARES Act money and our normal housing choice voucher program. So the CARES Act, anybody in the state can contact us through that link on idahohousing.com. But for just standard rental assistance vouchers, they would go to one of our branch offices. If they're in the southwestern part of the state, there are, like I said, the Boise City Ada County Housing Authority locally in Ada County, and then SICHA, SICHA.org is the one that handles the other 10 counties in Southwest Idaho.
Which SITCA stands for Southwest Idaho Cooperative Housing Authority, right?
Very good. Very good.
Well, I have to say, I do have Erik's cheat sheet in front of me, so
Yes,
I'm only
good.
as good as the person who provides it for me. That's great. So, are you guys a for-profit, a private industry, a nonprofit? Maybe tell the viewers a little bit about your makeup at
So
IHFA.
yeah, basic overview of the history. IHFA was created through an act of legislation in 1972
Mhm.
to specifically be a non-state entity. So we are a private, not-for-profit, and we have a mortgage loan program. We issue private activity bonds on the national market to raise money to invest in mortgages for Idahoans. We have multifamily finance, programs that we use to help developers build affordable housing. We have an emergency services grant program that helps fund homeless shelters, domestic violence shelters around the state, transitional housing providers. And then I run the Housing Information Referral Center, which part of that is a housing hotline. So I talk to people on a daily basis. Since 1998, that's when I created that. So it's been a long time, and I've talked to a lot of people who are experiencing different kinds of housing needs.
Yeah, that's
over
great.
time. I think you guys, at Link and 211 and Jesse Tree, a lot of other lot of other organizations are fielding calls on a regular basis from folks that need help.
Yeah. Yeah, you are definitely one of our strong partners because we support 17 counties out of Idaho's 44 at Link. So
Yeah.
it is really critical that we have housing partners in all of those communities because like we said, housing is a base, it's a need that we all have, right? What is our shelter situation? Right. So let's switch gears. We have just about 1 or 2 more minutes.
Okay.
These always go so fast. I could just talk to my guests for a very long time. What are some things that we have to look forward to that maybe you're working on, or even IHFA is working on with the celebration coming up? We've got events through October. Yeah. So what are some things you can share with our audience about that?
Well, I'm kind of representing IHFA on the ADA 30 celebration committee, and I'm part of the recreation committee with some other folks, mostly the folks involved with Idaho Access Project, Diana, Dana, and Jeremy, and a couple of other folks. So we're planning on exploring some lower foothills trails to look at access issues and, figure out what kind of barriers there are and what opportunities there might be for ridge to rivers to help make some of those trail systems a little more accessible, for folks with either a mobility or a sensory impairment. So I'm excited about that. We also, IHFA, we're working on a fair housing and fair housing and innovative partnerships grant, education and outreach initiative. So I'm kind of working with some partners to put that together and, really raise awareness about fair housing rights and responsibilities around the state with some of our other stakeholders. And so I'm looking forward to that. And that includes, access and design and construction issues, as well as community accessibility, I think. So
great, important work. So when we were prepping for this, we were going to put 2 links in addition to the fair housing, the link for Idaho Fair Housing and Finance Association. We were going to put the housingforum.org and also Ramp Up Idaho. And I would love for you just to share a quick little bit about those 2 sites and what people can look for in those when I share them.
Right. That first one is fairhousingforum.org. And that is sort of a web presence for the Idaho Fair Housing Forum, which is a group of stakeholders that either are impacted by or, work within the Fair Housing Act. And so I manage content for that. We created that back in 2007, I think. So it's really just a clearinghouse of information. It gets a lot of traffic, surprisingly. The other one is rampupidaho.org. And briefly, that's an outgrowth of another project I'm involved with through the Idaho Rural Partnership. And it came out of a community review in Driggs, Idaho with my friend Brian Dale, who you might know.
I do. I like Brian.
Brian. Yeah. Brian uses a scooter, and we were trying to go out and get a drink after working all day in Driggs. And the only place in town that was still open had a couple steps in front of it, a wine bar there. And so we did a team lift and got Brian's scooter in and out, and then went back the second night. And there were about 10 of us, in and out of there. And so, it occurred to me that those steps were not just a barrier to Brian, they were a barrier to commerce. And so Ramp Up Idaho is really a project to raise awareness of the commercial, aspects of access. And so our tagline there is access means business. And, we're trying to educate business owners about tax advantages that they can take advantage of, to remove barriers to access.
And I think remove barriers to their profit line, right? Because
absolutely.
I mean, when you've worked a long day and that beverage, I mean, you can make some good money off people who work on hard days and want to eat and drink and be with family and friends.
Exactly. And I think that's the point we make is it's, there's a sizable population in Idaho that have some sort of disability or live with a disability, but they also have friends, they have coworkers, they have family members, and they travel and they want to engage in community activities. They want to explore Idaho, and really, take part in a lot of different recreational activities and tourism recreation. So, it's just trying to provide some more awareness of that.
That's great. That's great. So as the viewers can see, Erik is very busy, and we're just really appreciative of your hard work on the committee and also joining us today. We appreciate the information on the Idaho Housing and Finance Association, and also just some of those great activities that we're coming from and sharing your story, Erik. So we want to say thank you for that. And thank you also to the Idaho Council for the Deaf and Hard of Hearing for supporting us with interpreters during this Wednesday. And a special thank you for Sierra, because I don't know if she thought she was going to get picked on as much, but I think that's what you get when you have Erik and LeAnn. So thank you guys for joining us. We will be back next week. We will stream again on both these Facebook pages. So look forward to seeing you there. Erik, and Sierra, I just want to say ciao and enjoy your lunch. Thank you so much for joining us. Yes.
Absolutely. And thanks again, Sierra.
We'll see you next Wednesday, everybody.
Okay, stay healthy.